Jesse? No, not right now. Okay, so to complete your web registration, please prove that you're human. When Littlefoot's mother died in the original Land Before Time, did you feel sad? Did you remember that movie? I know. I know. I thought that was a funny comic. Okay, bots, no lying. A practice exam, yeah. Okay, so we're gonna problems involving quadratic equations. So we're gonna look at some application problems again. So today is just the first page of notes. That's it. Okay, so short lesson, yeah, just this page, and then the rest of the time is homework time, which is awesome. Okay, so the height h meters of a projectile above the ground at time t seconds after the launch is given by the formula. Okay, so the height is h, and t is your time at, so 1, if you put in your time is 1, that's 1 second after launch. Just a second. Okay. So here's our graph. Write a quadratic equation which could be solved to determine the time it takes for the projectile to hit the ground. So if it's going to hit the ground, okay, if it hits the ground, yeah, so when it hits the ground, what's going to be 0? Time or your height? Your height is going to be 0. So we'll be okay because we're prepared now. We are. 0 equals negative 4.9 t squared. So our height is equal to 0.
I hate when we use t. It's plus.
It does. That's why little hook at the end makes it look better. No, it doesn't. J goes the other way. Okay, so algebraically, okay, so using quadratic formula, what's your A value? Negative 4.9. B is, yeah, I guess so. A, B, C. Okay. All right, so x equals negative b, negative 16, plus or minus the square root. Okay, b squared, 16 squared minus 4 times our a value, negative 4.9, times our c, 2 all over 2 times our a, so 2 times negative 4.9. Okay, so let's figure out what's underneath the square root first. So don't need to punch in square root, just we're going to go 16 squared minus 4 times negative 4.9 times 2. 295.2. So I get negative 16 plus or minus the square root. What was that again? I forget. 295.2? No, it was because it's negative b, so it's negative 16. 295.2? Okay, thank you. All over, what's 2 times negative 4.9? Negative 9.8. Okay, so it says we want to find it to the nearest tenth, so we're going to plug in each one in our calculator. So let's practice this together, because some of you have issues with this. So in your calculator, what do you have to open your numerator with? Bracket. So negative, you could just go straight to negative 16. You can wrap the negative 16, but you don't have to. So let's do the plus first. Square root 295.2, and then double bracket. Why double bracket? Close the square root, close the numerator bracket, and then divided by, So then you probably opened up you can't close a bracket if it wasn't open in the beginning. And so if you try and, if you didn't have the first one, oops, let's put this away. Where am I going? So if you didn't have the opening one, it's going to give you an error if you try and double close. Because you can't close something that was never opened. Right? Right? Can't close anything that wasn't opened. It's deep. It's really deep. Okay. Okay. So to the nearest tenth, what is that? Negative 0.1. 1 to nearest 10th, I think, right? Negative 0.1. And what's the other one going to be? What's the easy way to get the other one? Second, enter. Go back and change the sign to a minus in front of the square root. And we get 3.4. Now, are those both possible solutions? We should make this a t equals instead of x equals. Can you have negative time? Absolutely not. I'm going to use my calligraphy pen here because I like it. Cannot have negative time. So the solution is 3.4 seconds is when it hit the ground. I know, isn't it awesome? Yeah, it looks awesome, hey? It's a calligraphy pen.
How'd you do that?
It's a different kind of pen. Okay. One more question. A special enlarger bulb is designed to enlarge photographs from a 4x5 so that the reflector takes the shape of a parabola, I can't speak, from the side. The depth of the reflector is 2 centimeters. Depth of the reflector is 2 centimeters. So the first question says, when placed on a coordinate axis, so they already did that for us, the equation is given. So they gave us the equation. Write a quadratic equation that could be solved to determine the diameter of the reflector bulb. Okay, so if we want the diameter, how could we get the diameter of the bulb? What would you need to know to figure out the diameter? X, what do they call it? X intercepts. If we knew the x-intercepts, could we figure out the diameter? Because we know one of them is 0, 0. So if we figured out the other one, then we know our diameter. How do we get our x-intercepts? Set what to 0? Y. Set y to 0. So we get 0 equals 2 over 9 x squared plus 4/3 x. Try that. So write an equivalent quadratic equation using only integer values. So what they're saying is, let's get rid of this fraction. The fraction's in here. So what would you have to times everything by? Because if integers has no fractions. So looking at this, what could we multiply everything by to get rid of the fractions? So look at the denominators. 9 and 3. Would 3 be big enough to cancel both out? We want the lowest common multiple of 9 and 3. What is that? No, you're thinking greatest common factor. We want lowest. 9 is the lowest common multiple. So let's multiply everything by 9. So we have our equation 0 equals 2 over 9x squared plus 4 over 3x. We're going to multiply everything by 9. So I'm going to multiply this guy by 9, this guy by 9, and this guy by 9 to make our new equation. So what is 9 times 0? 0. 9 times 2 over 9. Grab your calculator. 9 times 2 over 9. Yeah, because the 9's cancel out. So just 2. So 2x squared plus 9 times 4 over 3. 12x. Okay, so now we wrote it. Now, would that be a lot easier to factor? Much easier. We got rid of the fraction, so now we can actually figure out the roots by factoring. So what can you factor out first? 2 and an x. There's a greatest common factor. Whenever we have two terms, check to see if there's either first a greatest common factor or if it's a difference of squares. There's a greatest common factor here. So if I divide 2x squared by 2x, 1x plus 12x divided by 2x, 6. So what are our zeros? X is equal to negative 6 and when it's by itself? No. 0. Because if x was 0, 2 times 0 would be 0. Times anything would be 0. Whenever x is by itself, then one of the zeros is 0. Okay? So what was the diameter then? Something that we... That's interesting. What's interesting is no, the equation's wrong. The original equation is wrong. Oh, you know what we didn't see? Do you see the negative in front? Negative, negative. No, it doesn't change everything. Watch. Negative. Because it doesn't make sense that our x-intercept's negative 6. No, it's us. Negative, so that we should have factored out a negative here. Negative. So this would just be x minus 6. So this should be a positive 6. I didn't see that little negative there. Okay, that makes sense, right? Doesn't that make more sense now? So our so that's what you can be doing is checking your graphs. X-intercept is 6, therefore diameter is 6. Okay, so homework today is all 1 to 4. Yeah, and then tomorrow we'll do the other half of this lesson. And that's it. Then we're done.